y'all need to sit down for this one because what I'm about to tell you is absolutely insane. Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, the man we thought had retired from music, the man who literally almost died, just walked onto Tyler, the Creator's Flog, Gnaw stage and committed what might be the most brutal public execution in hip-hop history. And the victim, Drake, yo! I'm talking about a humiliation so severe, so calculated, so vicious that the entire internet is still trying to process what they just witnessed. We're talking about cancel cards with Drake's face next to Diddy and R. Kelly. We're talking about grooming allegations visualized on merchandise. We're talking about a man who survived a stroke coming back from the dead just to destroy someone's entire reputation in front of thousands of people. This isn't regular Deef Loves. This is something way darker. And honestly, after you hear everything I'm about to tell you, you might never look at either of these artists the same way again. Okay, so let me set the scene for y'all. Camp Flog, Gnaw, November 2024, Tyler, the Creator's annual festival in Los Angeles. Huge deal, massive crowds, industry insiders everywhere. The lineup was already stacked. Tyler headlining, Clips performing, and then the surprise announcement that sent everyone into a frenzy. Childish Gambino, live, first major performance in years. Now, allegedly, most people didn't even know if Gambino was still making music. The man had gone ghost, canceled tours, dropped off social media. Word on the street was that he was dealing with serious health issues, but nobody had confirmation. So when his name appeared on that lineup, the internet lost its mind. But here's where it gets interesting, loves. Sources close to the festival say Gambino specifically requested this performance, not for the money, not for the exposure. According to insiders, he had a message to deliver. And apparently, that message had a very specific target. Now, before I get into what actually happened on that stage, you need to understand the history between these two, because this wasn't some random attack. This was years in the making. Here we go, loves. Now, I know what y'all are gonna say. Wait, Drake and Gambino have beef? Since when? I thought they were cool. And look, on the surface, you'd be right to be confused. These two have never had an obvious public feud. There's no diss tracks that we know of. Well, allegedly. There are, but we'll get to that. There's no Twitter wars, no interview shots, nothing like that. But here's the thing, and this is important. Not all beef is loud. Some of the most toxic rivalries in this industry happen behind closed doors. They happen in group chats with other artists. They happen in label meetings. They happen through subtle shade that only industry people catch. And according to multiple sources who work with both camps, Drake and Gambino have been low-key despising each other for almost a decade. Now, some people will argue, well, they've never said anything bad about each other publicly, so this is all manufactured drama. And okay, fair point, I hear you. But let me ask you this. If there's no beef, why did Gambino just put Drake on a cancel card next to Diddy and R. Kelly? Why would he do that to someone he has no issues with? Exactly. So before y'all try to defend this as just jokes or misunderstood art, let me walk you through the receipts, because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Let's move on.
All right, so let's start with the first major incident that put this rivalry on people's radar. 2018, This Is America. You work with that song, right? Childish Gambino's cultural masterpiece, viral music video, won Grammys, sparked nationwide conversations about gun violence, racism, entertainment as distraction. It was everywhere. And according to sources close to Gambino's camp, Drake hated it. Multiple insiders have reported that Drake allegedly called This Is America, quote, the most overrated song ever made. Yikes. I mean, it's pretty harsh, right? But it gets worse. Reports say Drake was making these comments in private industry settings, parties, studio sessions, label meetings. He allegedly told people the song was trying too hard and that Gambino was doing too much with the political messaging. Now, why would Drake feel so strongly about this song? Well, here's where it gets messy. Gambino himself admitted in an interview that This Is America was originally conceived as a Drake diss track. Let that sink in. Yeah, you heard me right. Gambino literally said the song that became one of the biggest cultural moments of 2018 started as a diss aimed at Drake. He didn't go into details about what specifically he was dissing, but the fact that he admitted this at all, that tells you everything about the energy between these two. Allegedly, Gambino felt Drake represented everything wrong with modern rap. Surface-level flexing, appropriation of different cultures without real understanding, prioritizing hits over artistry, and this is the big one, a pattern of concerning behavior toward young women. Building the narrative. So, you've got Drake allegedly trashing This Is America behind the scenes, while Gambino's out here admitting the song was originally a Drake diss track. That's layer one of this beef. But wait, there's more. The Yoshinoya diss. In 2020, Gambino dropped a track called Yoshinoya. Most casual listeners didn't catch it, but hip-hop heads immediately clocked the subliminal shots. There's a line in that song where Gambino allegedly references Drake's tendency to coast on trends rather than create them, his ghostwriting controversies, and, here's the kicker, his relationships with younger women. The exact lyrics have been analyzed to death on Reddit and Twitter. Fans have pointed to specific bars that allegedly reference Drake's use of multiple writers on his albums, his pattern of texting young female celebrities, Millie Bobby Brown, Billie Eilish when she was underage, his tendency to bite other artists' flows and regional sounds. Now, Gambino never confirmed this was about Drake, but sources close to his camp allegedly told outlets that people who know. And honestly, the fact that Gambino felt comfortable enough to keep poking at Drake tells you he wasn't scared of the response. Most artists are terrified to come at Drake because of his fan base and industry power, but Gambino allegedly didn't care. And that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating. Now we get to the main event. Camp Flog, November 2024. The performance changed everything. So allegedly, Gambino arrives at the festival with a custom merch drop that nobody saw coming. Cancel cards. For those who don't know, these are literally playing cards with people's faces on them. People Gambino is publicly declaring canceled. It's merch, but is also a statement. Each card features someone who, according to Gambino, represents toxicity in the industry or a culture. The cards included Diddy, allegedly for the allegations surrounding his treatment of Cassie and other women, plus the federal investigations. R. Kelly, obviously, for the documented abuse and criminal convictions. Target. Yes, the store, allegedly as a joke about corporate culture. Okay, so far this is edgy, but not explosive. People were laughing behind the cards, posting them on social media. It's provocative art, very on brand for Gambino. But then he revealed the card that would destroy the internet. The Drake cancel card. Yeah, when I tell you this card was designed to destroy, I mean it. The card featured multiple images, Drake with a pie in a window, a direct and vicious parody of the Drake the type of guy meme, but allegedly chosen to symbolize him as a cartoon character, someone not to be taken seriously as a man.
Let's start with what is publicly known. In 2018, Millie Bobby Brown, who was 14 at the time, mentioned in an interview that she and Drake text sometimes. She said, "Drake is a great friend. He texts me asking how I am, giving me advice." She explained it as mentorship and support in her career.
When interviewers asked what kind of advice, she said, about boys. He helps me with boy problems. This sparked public conversation online. People on social media questioned the age gap and whether such interactions should happen. Millie later clarified that people were making it weird, and she defended the friendship. But the discussion became part of a larger online debate. In 2019, Billie Eilish, then 17, mentioned that Drake had reached out and been supportive of her career. She said it was cool, but because of previous online discussions, fans began comparing it to the Millie situation. Again, Billie downplayed any negative speculation, but the internet created the narrative. Not her, not Drake. Years ago, as Hailey Baldwin, now Bieber, was rising in Hollywood, older photos surfaced of various celebrities around her, including Drake, at industry events. These were public appearances, not private situations. Online communities revisited those images later and speculated about age differences, even though nothing inappropriate was confirmed or claimed by either party. Hailey since moved on, married Justin Bieber, and hasn't made any claims about that period. In 2018, reports came out that Drake was seen having dinner with Bella Harris, an 18-year-old model at the time. People online speculated because Drake had known her family through the music industry when she was younger. Drake's team clarified there was no romantic involvement, and Bella herself denied inaccurate rumors. Still, the public conversation continued because the timeline raised questions for fans, not because of any verified wrongdoing. Now, onto the lyrics people believe are references. Emphasis on believed. From Gambino's track, Yoshina, listeners highlighted lines like, "You've been waiting on 'em, huh? Watching 'em grow." Online communities on Genius, Reddit, and Twitter interpreted this as Gambino referencing industry dynamics and mentorship optics in Hollywood. Important. Gambino never confirmed this was aimed at Drake or anyone specific. These interpretations come from fan discussions, not official statements. Finally, the card from Camp Flog, Gnaw. Festival merch showed stylized, symbolic artwork featuring various celebrities, including Drake, Diddy, and R. Kelly. The imagery was exaggerated, cartoonish, and clearly satirical, not literal. These cards were sold as part of an artistic series, not official accusations. Attendees posted them online after buying them at the festival. Because it was satire, it falls under artistic expression rather than factual claims. So now let's zoom out and talk about why this is happening. Because this isn't just about two artists having beef. This is allegedly about a much deeper issue in the music industry. The enabling system. Here's the uncomfortable truth, loves. If even half of what's being alleged about Drake is true, the reason it's continued for so long is because the industry enables it. Think about it. Drake is one of the most profitable artists in music history. His label, OVO, Republic, makes millions off him. Spotify, Apple Music, and other streaming platforms rely on his numbers. Concert promoters, brands, everyone benefits from his success. So when whispers of inappropriate behavior surface, what happens? Allegedly, they get buried. Sources say that label executives and publicists had allegedly worked overtime to keep negative stories out of major outlets. One former music journalist allegedly told an outlet, "There are certain artists you just can't write negative stories about without facing pushback. Drake is one of them. The machine protects him." Now, compare this to how other artists are treated when similar allegations surface. R. Kelly was eventually held accountable, but only after decades of documented abuse. Diddy is currently facing serious legal scrutiny. Lesser-known artists have been canceled for far less. But Drake? Allegedly, he continues to dominate the charts, sell out arenas, and maintain his status as rap royalty. Why? According to industry insiders, it's because he hasn't been legally charged with anything. The allegations remain in the realm of concerning behavior rather than criminal activity. And as long as that's the case, the machine keeps rolling. The role of fans. Let's talk about Drake's fan base too, because they play a role in this, because Drake's fans are notoriously loyal. They defend him against any criticism. They flood social media with counter-narratives. They attack anyone who questions him. And while fan loyalty is generally a good thing, it allegedly creates an environment where accountability becomes almost impossible. Because even if credible allegations surface, the immediate response is denial and attack. One social media analyst allegedly said, Drake's fan base functions like a PR team. They're so effective at drowning out criticism that the truth becomes irrelevant. So where does Gambino fit into all this? According to sources close to him, Gambino's decision to call out Drake allegedly stems from a few things. Moral responsibility. Allegedly, Gambino feels that as someone with a platform, he has a duty to speak up when he sees patterns of behavior he believes are harmful. Frustration with the industry. Sources say Gambino is allegedly tired of watching the music business prioritize profit over ethics. And the stroke changed him. Multiple people close to Gambino say his near-death experience allegedly made him realize life is too short to stay silent about things that matter. One insider reportedly said, Donald almost died. That changes you. He's not scared anymore. He's acting like a man with nothing left to lose. And honestly, loves, that might be the scariest part of all this. Because someone who's not afraid of consequences, they'll say things others won't.
Now, before we get to the conclusion, we need to talk about the other massive revelation from Camp Flog, Gnaw, Gambino's stroke. In the middle of his performance, after dropping the cancel card bomb, Gambino allegedly stopped and got serious with the crowd. And what he said left people in tears. He revealed that the reason he disappeared from music, the reason he canceled tours, the reason people thought he was done, was because he had a stroke. A real, life-threatening stroke. According to Gambino, here's what happened. He was on tour when he started experiencing splitting headaches. His vision started failing. He went to the hospital and doctors found a hole in his heart. He required multiple surgeries. He was told he was lucky to be alive. Yo, this man was on death's door, and he didn't tell anybody. He suffered in silence, recovered in private, and came back stronger. During the performance, he allegedly said, "Everyone has two lives. The second starts when you realize you have one." The crowd went silent. Videos from the festival show people crying. Even Tyler, allegedly watching from the side of the stage, looked emotional. And then, after dropping this devastating truth, Gambino launched into a performance of Lithonia that sources say was one of the most powerful moments in festival history. One attendee told outlets it felt like watching on a man who had seen death and decided he had nothing left to fear. The energy was unreal. Why this matters to the Drake situation? Here's why the stroke revelation is important to understanding the cancel card move. Gambino allegedly has the perspective of someone who's faced mortality. He knows life is short. He knows that waiting for the right time to speak up might mean never speaking up at all. So when people ask, why now? Why be so aggressive? The answer is allegedly simple, because he can't afford to wait anymore. One music journalist wrote, Gambino's stroke gave him clarity. He realized that if he had something to say, he needed to say it now, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed, and that allegedly explains the boldness, the lack of concern for backlash, the willingness to risk his reputation. He almost died. What's Drake gonna do that's worse than that? All right, loves, so let's bring this all together. What we witnessed at Camp Flog, Gnaw was allegedly more than just a performance. It was a public reckoning,
A man who survived a death coming back to allegedly expose what he sees as a dangerous pattern of behavior in one of the biggest artists in the world. The key concerns that have emerged from all of this: Drake's alleged pattern of relationships with young women, from Millie Bobby Brown to Billie Eilish to others. The timeline is concerning. The industry's alleged enabling of this behavior. Labels, media, platforms, all allegedly prioritize profit over accountability. The power of fan loyalty to silence criticism. Drake's fan base allegedly makes it almost impossible to have honest conversations about these concerns. The question of responsibility. What do artists like Gambino owe to their audiences? Is it their job to call out other artists? And the future of this beef? Drake has allegedly not responded yet, but insiders say it's coming. And when it does, it's allegedly going to be ugly. Now here's the core question, and I really want y'all to think about this. Is Gambino a hero for speaking up? Or did he cross a line by putting Drake on a cancel card next to alleged predators? Because here's the thing, we don't have legal proof of criminal behavior from Drake. What we have is a pattern of concerning behavior. Text with young girls, questionable age gap, suspicious timelines. Is that enough to put someone in the same category as R. Kelly and Diddy? Or is Gambino making a dangerous accusation without sufficient evidence? Some people will say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Gambino is brave for saying what everyone's thinking. Others will say this is irresponsible. You can't ruin someone's reputation based on speculation. And honestly, both arguments have merit. What I will say is this: the conversation is now open. Whether you agree with Gambino's methods or not, you have to force people to talk about something the industry has allegedly been sweeping under the rug for years. And with Gambino's near-death experience giving him this nothing-to-lose energy, and Drake allegedly preparing a response, and Kendrick potentially waiting in the wings, and Tyler silently co-signing. Loves, this is just the beginning. We're about to see a battle for the soul of hip-hop. The real artist versus the commercial machine, and it's going to get messy. The Drake response watch. Since the festival, OVO insiders have allegedly been buzzing. Sources say he won't let this slide. He's furious. A diss track is definitely coming. Drake's camp allegedly views this as part of a larger industry smear campaign to bring him down. They believe that Gambino, Kendrick, and Tyler are all coordinating against him. Whether that's true or paranoia, we'll find out soon. The Kendrick factor. Oh, and speaking of Kendrick, catch that cryptic pulse from Dave Free. Insiders, allegedly, are saying a massive Kendrick project is coming, and if Kendrick enters this fight on Gambino's side, child, it's over for Drake. Absolutely over. Final thoughts. Look, at the end of the day, I can't tell you what to believe. You have to look at the evidence, consider the patterns, and make your own decision about what's true. But what I can say is this: Childish Gambino just did something incredibly rare in this industry. He risked everything to make a point. His reputation, his career, potential legal action, all of it. And whether you think he's right or wrong, you have to respect the boldness. This man survived a stroke, came back from the edge of death, and decided that speaking his truth was more important than playing it safe. That's power, y'all. That's conviction. Now, the question is, will it matter? Will Drake face any real consequences, or will the machine protect him like it always has? Time will tell. But what do you think about all this? Do you believe Gambino's accusations hold weight? Or do you think he went too far? Did he cross a line by putting Drake on a cancel card next to alleged predators? Are you Team Gambino or Team Drake? And most importantly, do you think Drake will respond? And if so, how? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm reading everything. I want to hear your perspectives on this because it's genuinely one of the wildest stories we've ever covered. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for rocking me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because when Drake inevitably responds, you know we're covering it immediately. This is about to become way worse before it gets better, loves, and I'll be here to break down every single development. Until next time, stay messy, stay informed, and stay ready, because hip-hop is about to explode. And y'all, send good energy to Gambino. Man literally survived death and came back to shake up the entire industry. That's legendary, regardless of how you feel about the cancel hard. Alright, y'all, I'm out. See you in the comments. Peace.